Good evening, everybody. This is Jeff J. Brown, China Rising Radio Sinoland, just south of the Tropic of Cancer in Shenzhen. Not a terribly long one tonight, but I think it's a very interesting one for people to understand how China works and how it compares to the way the West works. It is entitled, Chinese Democracy Says No More to Western Garbage. There's a picture of some containers. Western garbage arriving in Shenzhen's port, just a few kilometers from where I live. I don't want the West waste coming into my amazing and beautiful city, and neither do China's 1.4 billion citizens into theirs. Send it back to where it belongs! All right, here's the body of the article. The big story about China's new ban on foreign, meaning Western, waste imports has been completely misrepresented by Eurangloland, my wry name for NATO, Europe, Australia, New Zealand, and Israel. Has been misrepresented by their governments and media. There is a reason for this. Baba Beijings, that's the China's leadership, its decision is being driven by democratic demands of the citizens to stop it. This news is a prime example of China's vibrant people's democracy, the most participatory and responsive in the world. In Eurangloland, China's uber-successful communist socialist reality must be zealously denied and suppressed. Everybody in China hates the idea that their country imports Western garbage. It's not only humiliating, but also extremely dirty, dangerous, and very unhealthy for all those involved, as well as for the national environment. In-country polls showed that the people were fed up with the practice and wanted it stopped. Taking their lead, President Xi Jinping has made green tomorrows a huge policy bullseye for the government to realize, and the results are already impressive. As a real participatory democracy that sincerely and proactively responds to citizens' desires, this vile practice of garbage imports is rapidly coming to an end. It's not like super-consuming Western wastrels have not been warned. China started its Operation Green Fence back in 2013. This has nothing to do with the new and ongoing Sino-American tariff war. In 2016, 1,500 containers of American garbage were being shipped to China every day, with likely at least that many coming from much more populated Europe. That container number is dropping precipitously, and by December 31st, 2019, it is expected to be zero. Ships are already being turned away at Chinese ports, while garbage mountains are piling up in Europe and the U.S. The U.S. is bluntly asking, demanding is a more accurate term, that China rescind these new policies. Don't hold your breath, because the Chinese people have spoken, and their democratic leaders are listening and responding in kind. Baba Beijing's reputation, legacy, and heavenly mandate are on the line. Uncle Sam even meekly suggested that it is an international trade violation. Really? We don't want your garbage anymore? Should be taken up with the WTO? Maybe the West ought to force the Chinese to buy illegal banned opium again, like it did for 110 years, until communist liberation in 1949. Should that be a WTO case too? WTO being the World Trade Organization. The West's externalization of deleterious and deadly costs of production is the logic of capitalism. The following quote from an above-linked article says it all. If the Asian giant closes off its waste management market, and I put in brackets SIC, S-I-C, recycling centers across the U.S. will be faced with a hard choice. They can either hire a much more expensive workforce, which would raise prices for their services, require households to sort their own waste, or be forced to use more landfills across all 50 U.S. states. End of quote. Oh my God! OMG! Americans have some hard, and I mean really hard choices to make. And this is someone talking in the United States at the water cooler. What do you mean? We should hire people to do in-country what China has been doing for the West since the early 1980s? Are you suggesting that we have to pay people and increase our costs? Provide jobs? Hell no! Next thing you know, those upstarts will want to unionize, and we can't allow that commie plot to hatch. And how dare you expect our overfed, indebted to the hilt, brainwashed super-consumer citizens to actually sort their own garbage? You insult your Anglo-land's great white race, pal. Toiling garbage is for dark-skinned people, or at least poor white trash to sort the trash. And make us buy more land needed to dump our own garbage? Get out of here. Send it to those stupid yellow zipper heads in China. They'll figure something out. Now, where's my TV remote so I can turn on CNN and BBC to find out how evil Muslims, North Koreans, Russians, and Chinese really are as a threat to our superior way of life? And, end of quote, by the way. And you gotta love Baba Beijing's response to their former drug-dealing colonial masters. Here's what somebody said. China's representative agreed to take the comments into account, but said that every country had a responsibility to dispose of its waste. And with its large population, China was obliged to restrict imports of waste while cleaning up at home. Quote, China is seeking a path towards harmonization of man and nature, the trade official quoted China's delegate as saying. End of quotes. That's something you would never hear a Western politician say except some marginalized Green Party member in a local or regional assembly. And the West masters are making sure those two-legged threats to capitalism never get a chance to govern in any significant fashion. But this is exactly what the Chinese people have been telling their leaders for years. Within this are the concepts of harmony, balance, yin-yang, tapping deep roots into Taoism and Buddhism, chanting in their inner souls. Baba Beijing is responding to its people's democratic dreams by singing back, "Right on, comrades! We hear you loud and clear. The import ban is on." And then there's a list of articles that were not used in the article, podcast for those who really want it in more detail. Thank you for coming and listening. Please share China Rising Radio Sinoland on your social media, at work, at home, and at your place of worship, friends, etc., family. There's a lot of disinformation about China out there, and everybody deserves the real China, because it is absolutely the tail that is wagging the world's dog right now, especially the West. Jeff J. Brown, China Rising Radio Sinoland, signing out from Shenzhen. Good night.